Just how cringe was I? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm doing a reaction video to all my old videos that I have posted in the last couple of years. Now I believe I am embarking on a new anniversary date this summer for my booktube channel. I think I've been on booktube for maybe 3 years now. My first couple of videos that I ever posted were from 2 years ago. Now I myself am considered sort of a narcissist. I like to revisit my old videos sometimes just to humble myself on how much I have improved in the past couple of years in terms of video quality, in terms of how comfortable I am getting in front of the camera, and also just quality content wise. It's just always a humbling experience when you revisit memory lane, and I thought it would be fun if I captured my reaction to my old videos with you and that we can also laugh together, because honestly, some of these videos are pretty bad. Okay, so here we are on my homepage of my booktube channel. As you can see, I have a new beautiful channel art that you've probably never noticed if you never came onto my page before, and if you only watch my videos through the subscription page. But this piece of artwork was inspired by Do You Want to Start a Scandal by Tessa Dare, and I had my friend Genevieve from Bookshelf Gremlin on Instagram to create a channel banner for me, and I love it. It's gorgeous. I highly recommend you to go ask her if commissions are open so that you guys can also get a piece of artwork yourself. And then just taking a quick skim of my booktube channel, I always like to have my uploads first and foremost so that it's very easy for you guys to check to see if I have new videos being posted. Then I have a popular uploads playlist so that you guys can see like which videos are the ones that everybody likes the most. I recently kind of dove into advertising myself or marketing myself as a historical romance channel last year. It wasn't intentional, but I just fell in love, or I fell in love with historical romances. So a lot of my content last year was focused around historical romances. So if you guys are looking for a historical romance recommendation on a specific trope, I really recommend you to check out this playlist. We also have a historical romance book author's guide where I binge read a lot of backlist books from historical romance authors that you know yourself, and I review all the books I have read from them. It's usually entire series or entire backlist books of all the authors. And then I am a huge advocate for diverse reading, and I wanted to make a playlist specifically to K-pop, K-drama, and Asian book recommendations, because that is a huge part of my reading life, and I feel like it's a huge part of my personality too as well, where I share different types of Asian culture on my channel because I am an Asian booktuber. And then finally, we also have a playlist for best books of 2020, although I should change that to best books of 2021 because I do have some videos of 2021 that are best books in there, but that's just outdated. Now, if we go to our videos tab where we're just kind of taking a quick skim of my latest uploads, you can tell that I've been playing around with a lot of how I treat my thumbnails. I've tried to make it different by using different font styles, different doodling, just different styles other than the ones I've used in the past. What I used to do was that I just put a huge block of color right behind myself, or like a photo right behind myself, and I want to switch things up a bit. So this is just like a quick skim of some of the videos that I posted in the past year or so. I am proud of the content. I think that it was recognized really well from my viewers, and it definitely helped me gain more popularity and attention too as well on BookTube channel. But we're not here to praise my new works. We're here to kind of go back in time to see my old works. Now, for some reason, I decided to do a channel teaser where I thought that people would be really interested that I've now transferred from Bookstagram to BookTube, and I thought that would be really interesting. It's a 5-second video, and that's it. That's literally it. It's just Baekhyun from EXO's song, and then it's just a message that says subscribe to my channel, which is useless. It's nothing. But it was just something that I needed to put there so that I can kickstart my BookTube channel. Now, I'm very, very, very nervous about reacting to this, my first ever official video where I talk about my intro to BookTube, because this video and subsequently a lot of the videos that I'm going to be talking about are videos that I filmed around 2 years ago, and I was using my company's iPhone because I was using a Samsung at that time, and my Samsung wasn't like the nicest Samsung ever, so the camera quality wasn't that great, and I thought that the iPhone 8 that I got from my company would be a really good camera, but you will start to see that it's not. It's not the best camera, and I need like better lighting, and I obviously need a mic so that you can hear my voice and it's going to be super crisp. But let's get started with reacting to my intro to booktube. I hate it already. I absolutely hate it already.
So anyways, I do not have any plans for this video. I was going to do the booktube newbie tag, but when I read the questions, I was like, that shit is dry. It's drier than my skin.
Okay, so first and foremost, I wanted to quickly note that when I first started booktube, it was a mission and a half. I try really hard to present myself in the best lighting possible. Like, I try to make sure that I have nice makeup on, I paint my nails, and I make sure that the clothes I'm wearing are pretty cute and pretty adorable so that I could present the best image of myself. But the problem is that I also used to curl my hair. I used to curl my hair. Like, literally, I would put so much effort into my hair too as well. But somewhere along the way, I decided that it was too much effort and nobody cared if my hair was curled or not, if I looked really good. I felt like it was just more focusing on my personality and the content that I was putting out there. But, you know, people are still shallow and people like to watch beautiful people on booktube. So it's just, it gets like I have to outweigh the cost and benefit, and it was just taking too much time to curl my hair all the time. But I just wanted to share that interesting tidbit with you. I also really liked to do zoom in effects and to make sound effects because I wanted to edit my videos like Emma Chamberlain, who is this very popular Gen Z vlogger who just makes content really funny. I personally think that I have a very outgoing and funny personality too as well. Sometimes people don't like my jokes, but I think that I'm pretty funny. So I wanted to make my content to be something that my viewers could look forward to for a quick laugh, and it just kept them interested for the entirety of the video. But since then, I've kind of figured out that, like, you know, it takes a long time to make those edits, and sometimes those jokes fall flat and it's really cringe when I edit my new videos with jokes in them. Or like just in general, like the audience moods shift and they don't want heavily edited videos anymore. Sometimes they just want something calm and relaxing, or they just want something to play in the background without having to hyper focus onto those videos. So that's why I kind of changed up my style, but I still put jokes here and there when I'm in a silly, goofy mood.
In the wintertime. So we're not going to do that. Regardless, welcome. My name is Lisa. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Canada, and I read a lot of young adult contemporary novels, and sometimes I read a lot of fantasy novels.
A lot of these videos we are going to see is that I'm not going to be looking directly into the camera. I'm going to be looking off to the side. And for the first like 2 years, my videos were just like me looking towards the side because I would just keep paying attention to the screen on my camera and where I was and making eye contact with myself. And then that's when I started realizing that, like, in order to not be that awkward, you have to focus on the middle of the lens and not, you know, not yourself. And then a lot of people also complained about that too, how I always would look at myself in the viewfinder instead of viewing you guys. So that was interesting too as well.
That I have to more physical books, or 10 physical books off my shelves.
The thing about these videos is that I actually tried really hard for these videos. Like, for these videos themselves, I re-watched the whole thing before I uploaded onto booktube because I was just like, I had crippling anxiety that my editing was so choppy and poor that like people would be turned off and not watch my videos. But I'll let you in a little secret now. I have since stopped rewatching my videos before I upload them, mostly because it takes too long to like rewatch a whole video and to go back and edit and then re-export. So now when you guys see like clipped up choppiness, audio's not doing really well, and my words aren't in sync, it's because I gave up. Okay, so we're done with the intro to booktube because I cannot deal with it anymore. The next video that I put up was this one that I titled Romance Books That Make Me Feel More Single Than I Am. And this one surprisingly did really well. I had 1,800 views. That's pretty good for me for like a tiny booktuber at that time who probably had less than 1,000 subscribers.
I'm single.
Oh, that's so cringe. Like, why did I just freaking say that? Like, yeah, yeah, I am single. I'm still single, but like, why did I have to do that? That's just, it was like a plea for help. It was like a cry for help at that point. Somebody should have gotten me freaking Tinder Premium Plus at that point.
So over the past year, I've read a lot of romances that made me feel personally attacked.
Yeah, you see how I was editing like I was Emma Chamberlain.
Were just so amazing that like it encouraged me and motivated me to go out there and to venture out in the world and to meet new people, and hopefully one day I can find one of them. But obviously Bay has not come yet.
Bay.
I'm still single and I'm still reading romances that make me very emotional and very sad at the same time. So yay.
I used to have background music. I still do have some background music on some of my videos, but I used to not be able to like tell how loud my background music was. So sometimes my background music would be louder than my voice. And then that got to be a problem too, because a lot of my friends were telling me like, I can't really hear what you're saying and it's very distracting at the same time. And I'm like, fair enough. Those are really good points that you've made there. Just cringe. I'm cringing right now.
And I'm a victim too, because the male characters inside the book are just so amazing and just so sweet that I want them to be my boyfriend in real life.
Like, I'm literally using songs that were popular from Emma Chamberlain in the videos just to get clout.
That sounded kind of sad. But anyways, the first book that I have is clearly not in my hand right now.
I had a lot of background music. I didn't realize that.
And she still never returned it back to me. This was Christmas. It's July right now. I want my book back, Laura. So
another thing about me is that I got into trouble by kind of making fun of my friends for not giving books back to me. And then people thought that I was actually online blasting them and they couldn't take, like, they just didn't understand that I was joking around. And I can see that it was offensive when I kind of go online to complain about people about returning books. It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to do. So lots of people laughed at that joke about like Laura taking my book and never returning back to me. But I can also see how Laura herself could have misconstrued it and thought that I was just being online and being mean and having these 1,800 people who watched this video kind of think the worst of her when she just didn't return a book. It's not against the law. So I've since changed. If somebody doesn't return the book to me, then it's like, oh, well, who cares? Because I don't lend out books unless I have read them already.
the first book I have.
So this is like my first book recommendation video. And I can already tell that a lot of these books that I've recommended are books that were trending and very popular at the time that are now trending on BookTok. But it was just, I made sure to pick out popular books that everybody was talking about so that people on BookTube will watch me because we would hopefully have similar reading tastes. But now I have since kind of just focused a lot on what I wanted to read, what I thought was good. I've always been a mood reader. So it's just like a fine balance of what I want to read, which is contemporary romances that are traditionally published, because I have yet fallen too deeply in love with indie romances to the point that I have to convert myself to indie romance channel. Okay, let's go down a little bit more to see what kind of videos that I did post. I had this video series called Too Poor to Afford, which is basically and essentially a video of a wish list of books that I wanted to buy myself, but I was too poor to afford it. It was a joke because at that time I had a full-time job. I had money to buy the books, but it was just that I was too cheap to pay for them because they were full prices. So I thought it was pretty funny that the series was called Too Poor to Afford.
It's payday, but I still can't afford these books.
I remember how I would used to finish my work, go home, rush home so that I could film a video as quickly as possible before the sun set. And that was like my filming schedule. I would like come home after the workday and then film before the sun set. So that's why the sun was kind of always like in different places in my room, and then film and edit that night so that I could upload during the weekday. But I've since smartened up and basically film all my videos on the weekend. And then I edit on the weekend too as well, so that I didn't have an actual schedule of videos to post. But I don't know what's going to happen when I have to go back into the office and my weekends I can actually go out and have fun with my friends anymore after quarantine has officially ended. But I don't know. Another thing about my intro is that I used a generic intro that I found on Filmora. So I edit all my videos on the software program called Filmora. It's very basic because I didn't know how to make an aesthetic intro before, but I knew I wanted to make an intro so that people would know who I was. So that was just like a really ugly intro that I made, that I used for a year.
So welcome back to my channel. This video is in continuation of the video that I put out like a week ago, where it's entitled Books I Can't Afford, and it's still right now Books I Still Can't Afford because I spend too much money on different
I'm still
things.
looking at
like
the corner of like
Montreal, and
me
that
in the screen
too as well when I traveled there, and obviously when I bought things there, and it's just like blah blah blah. But these are some of the titles that I've been seeing recently on Instagram that I really been intrigued about, or like I'm really interested about, and I want to buy them, but like they're in hardcover, and hardcover adult fiction novels are usually in the $30 ranges here in Canada. So a girl is poor, and a girl won't be buying these books anytime soon, but hopefully
a girl is still somewhat poor, and a girl still doesn't buy books at full price, because I always look for a deal and I always look for an incentive for me buying really overpriced books priced at the original sale price.
maybe you can afford to buy the books because you guys make better financial choices than me. So maybe you guys can find some recs in this video as well.
Everybody makes better financial choices than me. I literally just keep spending money on like random stuff, and it makes no sense. My credit card bill is always so high every single month. It's insanity.
First book that I want to purchase but I can't is That's What Frenemies Are For by
I have no interest in this book. I think I was only interested in this book because that book was an illustrative cover, and during that time, it was when we first started seeing illustrative covers become covers. So I was just really addicted to illustrative covers.
Sophie Littlefield, and this book is basically about a middle-aged woman who has children, and she moves into this luxurious rich neighborhood, and she is trying to get in with the elite group. She wants to be part of the it crowd, and there's this, I think, this new fitness regimen going on that she really wants to get a part of. So she makes this trainer who is kind of like giggly and all over the place and basically not as cultured as she is, and she makes her into this very sophisticated woman, and it's about like how she either created a monster or she created the person that is like the best of the best. So that story sounds like it's interesting. The cover looks really cute. It follows like the illustration covers that are very popular nowadays with Berkeley romances and with romances in general.
See, we're traveling back in time where illustrative covers have just started resurfacing and everybody was growing addicted to these cartoon covers. Yeah. And then also another thing that I wanted to note was that these videos, I have like the book cover just like huge on one side of my video because I just don't know perspective, and I was putting it big because on my editing screen it looked small to me. So that was pretty funny too as well. Okay, let's see what other embarrassing things that I have going on. I had a lot of difficulty with like finding a font to use and how to edit the font so that people can actually see it on the thumbnail. I have a very busy background, as you can tell, and I have to figure out always all the time how you guys can see the font so that it captures your attention. And it wasn't until kind of I re-downloaded Photoshop and I redid all these bunch of things and used all these editing tools that I find a rhythm of how to organize my font so that you guys can actually see what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, so here's a video, and this one is called I Hate Your Favorite Books. And I used to be very toxic on booktube. I feel like I used to be very negative because back then on booktube, like if you had a hot take, if you had a fresh opinion different from everybody else, if you could rant about a book, those types of videos were the most popular ones because I feel like booktube viewers were tired of people kind of sugarcoating their reviews and just kind of like saying really great things all the time. So when new booktubers came out and they were actually telling like a different opinion and they were trashing the book, that was considered really cool. And then that negative toxic energy kind of rubbed off on me because I thought that that was something that my viewers wanted to watch. But now, reflecting and going forward, I still am very critical of the books that I read. And yes, I still bash a couple of books that I don't like. I'm very constructive with it, or at least I try to give constructive feedback. And I try to also be positive in a lot of my videos too. Now going forward, I make recommendations of books that I actually really loved. So there's no negative things that I can say in that video. And I think that's what BookTube needs more of: calm, soothing, good, optimistic content sometimes, especially now when the world is kind of going to poo.
My friends are gonna hate me after this.
See, I thought that was really cute that I would crap on my friends' favorite books just for fun. And then I've since realized that that's not the way to make friends, and that's not the way to keep friends too as well.
Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here with a video that will probably get me into a lot of trouble. I know the bookish community can be very forgiving, but at times when, you know, you have differences of opinions with somebody, or you just hate a book that everybody loves, in this case, then you kind of get dragged a bit. But you know what? Differences of opinions on books is what makes books interesting and thrive. It's the idea that, you know, we read the same story, we read the same book, we know the same characters, but we just have different emotions towards it, and it's interesting to dive into and to have a discussion.
So most of the times, i.e. all the time, I don't really script my videos, so off the fly. The words are coming out off the fly, and it becomes very messy, it becomes very long, it becomes very dragged out, and those are the videos that I cringe a lot when I edit. And I'm very self-aware now that when I'm going on a tangent, when I'm ranting, and so I know that your intros should be short, sweet. It should get to the point of why you're making the video. It should keep your viewers interested so they can continue watching the video, because once your intro gets too long-winded, gets people confused, that's when people kind of lose interest and they click out faster. Another thing about this video is that I'm freaking golden. I'm golden brown and toasty. I know like the lighting of my videos sometimes are like a little bit off and obscure, and it's just because of the daylight that I'm using. It's the settings on my camera. But I just wanted to make a joke about how this one I look very vibrant, because I feel like the camera that I was using was just making me look really dull, and I probably applied a filter on this video to make myself look better. Okay, I think we're gonna react to one more video because this is just gonna get too long because there's just so many things to say. Right from the start, I can tell that I filmed these videos back to back because it's the same washed out background editing that I did. I'm probably wearing the same shirt or a similar shirt too as well, because I was too lazy to change shirts, and I didn't think that people cared that I was filming videos back to back at the same time. Honestly, I don't even think half the time people actually realize what the heck I'm wearing, because like you guys didn't know that I was wearing a shirt with a bear on it until I did this. It's just all about camera angles.
I have another book haul. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
Good God. Okay, so at this point, I wanted to make my videos crisp, and I recently bought a DSLR camera. It was a Canon T6i, and I was like, yes, this is going to be my new video camera. But then I quickly realized that I hate the audio of those cameras, and I quickly realized that for those types of cameras, you actually need to have a mic so that people can actually hear you and have a clean, clear, crisp audio instead of something fuzzy playing in the background. I also obviously didn't know how to focus myself on that camera too as well, because most of it was blurry, but I was pretty happy because I was kind of looking crisp like a potato chip, and you can see every detail of my face and my hair like you do now with my new camera.
channel. Now, I'm sorry if sometimes I go in of focus and out of focus because I'm working with a new camera right now and I'm not sure how well it's doing, but regardless, I thought it would be fun to try to film a book haul with this new camera. So what happened was that I basically collected all my packages that I received for the past 2 weeks, including all the packages of books that I bought for myself and also from books from publishers and also bookstores here in Canada. I had a great time spending all my money on Boxing Day, which is like basically an excuse to shop if you're living in the UK and if you're living in Canada or whichever country that actually celebrates Boxing Day. It's basically the day after Christmas and a lot of stores put on these major sales to sell out all their stock that they collected over the past winter season, and then I just have an excuse to buy everything that I see on the websites. So I do have a lot of packages to show you. Actually,
okay, so one final tidbit before I kind of like try to wrap up this video is that I used to do a lot of book hauls because I got my most views on Instagram stories from book hauls from publishers because everybody was always so curious to see what kind of books I was getting from publishers. But since the pandemic kind of hit, a lot of the Canadian publishers have kind of like leaned away from sending physical ARCs to readers like us because A, they would have to like mail it, B, they would actually have to pay for the ARCs themselves, and then C, they have to pay for the postage stamp. And obviously the economy is not doing that great. So a lot of these publishers are saving money by switching to e-format. So therefore, I really didn't have any motivation to film more book hauls going forward because I didn't have that many publisher books anyways. Although book hauls are always one of my most viewed videos. Like everybody's just very curious to see what I got on my shelves and what I buy on my shelves, but book hauls are not fun content most of the time to film because it ends up being a huge mess in my room and it gives me a huge headache. So if you guys are wondering why my book hauls are now more spaced out and they're not as frequent, it's because I hate cleaning up afterwards. Okay, so I think that I'm going to stop there with kind of reacting to my old videos. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about my technique and how my journey has progressed and has become. In summary, I used my company's iPhone 8 to film videos. I was deathly afraid that those videos were being uploaded to the cloud and that people could see it, like my IT team. I would recommend you to not do that going forward. Do not listen to me. If your company gives you a company phone, keep it separate. Just go and invest in a camera yourself or use your own personal cell phone and just film with that. Don't use your company's phone. There's just so many instances where your company can see what you're doing and it becomes very cringe when you're talking about the hottest books on your shelf using a company phone. Keep it professional. Number two, I didn't really know how to talk in front of a camera and sometimes I would ramble and rant. I still don't. I tend to make a lot of cuts and a lot of mistakes in my videos and I sound very weird. I hate it when I film and I'm not in the mood and I can tell when I'm editing because my words aren't flowing and my personality is kind of dull. But anyways, that is it for my video on reacting to my old videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this content and thought that it was interesting. But I have since come back from my little burnt out holiday. I made a community post from a week ago now where I talked about how I was burnt out from work. I had an overwhelming amount of stuff to think about at work and I just didn't have the time or energy to think about booktube, and I thought that booktube itself was a very draining activity because it's just filming, editing, and more editing, and it just takes up so much time. So thank you guys for sticking around with me, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this new video that I have put out. But I'll see you guys again next time in a new one. Bye.